And welcome. Give me half a minute to do a few tweaks. All right. Okay. So for those of you who regularly, hi, my name is Lee. Him-ish vibes today. She, they is fine. Just remember, I'm not a woman. And we can do cool beans. Okay, so those of you who usually watch Sunday. Now I know some of you are big on the Sunday stream. Some of you never watch the Sunday stream. So, but if any of you do are in on Sunday streams, you'll know that on Sundays I do the Tales of Arcana race guide. What is Tales of Arcana, you ask? Well, it is a lot. A supplement by Matt Kneisel, genuinely packed full of a lot of bizarre shenanigans, fun stuff. Beautiful. We'll probably raid into Wily Hobbit a little bit afterward. But let me just... Let me just do one more thingamabob. I didn't... yeah. Yes. All right. Oh, hey, we already have 2 people. Welcome. Hello, everyone. Say hi in the chat if you want. You of course are under no obligation to, but it's always fun to hear from you. So, the Tales of Arcana. As usual on Sunday, we're going to do some of these shenanigans. Now, if you're not usually here on Sunday and you're lost a little bit, that's okay. What you need to do then is to tell me that, and we can go all the way back to the beginning. But if everyone's cool with it, I think we're going to start. Let's do where we should start. What were we going to do? Orcs? No, we were going to... Nope. Wait, what's a Tortan? Alright, you know what? That's basically what we've been doing, is just saying, hey, that looks interesting. And going for there. Let's... Okay. And then we've kind of been going back and forth and cross-referencing and, digging in, tweaking at the lore. Oh, and then we had a whole list of interesting lore questions that we were working on. No, that's a different lore for something else. That's lore for something else. This one, haha. Let's see. Oh, Sarah, right. We were around Sarah because, of the, we were doing Sarahs and then Sasquatch and then all the different variants on that and then Romulans and, okay, yeah. Why don't we go to Torton and Tree Squid? I think we might have, let's go with, let's do that. Nope, I know that. Hang on, shush. Pipe down. Torton. There we go, like turtles, but tortly. Or, I guess. Let's see. Adventurers are so quick to flee villages to scramble for loot. But if they took a moment, they would see the real adventure may take place within the town. Turgal. Torton aesthetic. Turtons are long-lived tortoise folk! Yes! Okay, the one issue I have with turtles in Forgotten Realms lore is that they fucking die young, and it's like, no, turtles live a long time. They're based on tortoises. They live a long time. Like, there's no... several species of turtles and tortoises live longer than humans. And you're saying turtles die yet? No. It's ridiculous. They don't live along, having turtles with, okay, I already like this a lot. We'll see if they have anything special about them. And if there's any cool lore tidbits. The lore tidbits are the ones. Also, I always eat on stream. They have icy pops because it's cold, because we're having a heat wave. Ancient and wise, they travel in search of stories and new alliances to increase their understanding of the world. They are slow and deliberate with their actions, taking time before making a decision. Tortons appear as tortoises that stand on their hind legs, with hands similar to those of other humanoid races. They are shorter on average than humans, but taller than a gnome or goblin, so medium but on the short side. They resemble any wild tortoise species and have typical coloration and patterning. Eternal wanderers, tortons strap their possessions to their bodies. Let's see if the art. Ooh, she's got a lot. That's the male. So they actually did a thing where they didn't put boobs on the female, so it's really hard. That's actually really good. Britt Martin did a good job of making her, like, just femme enough to be, not even that femme, you know what I mean? But, like, he didn't put boobs. You should see all of the frickin'... Britt Martin did a good job with them. That's one thing I like about this book, is that they have art for male and female of every race, and they credit each artist separately, which I appreciate. Here we go. Oh, I'm down to one viewer. That's okay. Tortons are known to many as kind and learned, assisting in periods of conflict and strife. They often serve as ambassadors, though they may reject the concept of citizenship to any nation. Maritime races such as merfolk, grindylows, and cyclopses would be familiar with them as merchants and traders. They seem easy prey to beings such as Leviathan. Like other wildkin races, tortons are thought to have come into being after exposure to goo, which elevated them to sentient humanoid versions of tortoises. While Torton scholars do not refute this claim, many see these encounters as having been guided by a divine plan. Many Tortons devote themselves to pantheons associated with the spirit plane, which defines much of Torton society. Regardless of their class or profession, Tortons see themselves as champions of peace, desiring to teach others about the concepts of balance and inner calm. Travel the whole world of Genesence, but many live on the island of Tortuga. Makes sense. Which was once a pirate stronghold city. When Tortons first arrived, they were greeted with hostility, but after several generations of persistence, they were able to enlighten the pirates there, transforming the den of drunken revelry into a temple city devoted to self-discovery. Outside of Tortuga, Tortons are invaluable as ambassadors for both the Empire and the Dominion. They act as intermediary third parties, helping to establish many of the treaties that keep both superpowers from open conflict during their Cold War. Yes. However, not all Tortons devote themselves to peace. Some have embraced violent ways after years of traveling with warrior societies, so it wouldn't be unheard of to encounter a Torton member of his Zargon war party or one working with mercenaries. Okay, that's fair. Ooh. These are lore snippets. Lore snippets are a lot of fun. Gone. Sorry. Yeah, lore snippet time. Many Tortons live on the Turtle Islands, a migrating archipelago of giant turtles whose backs are covered in earth, vegetation, and villages. Gudai is a colossal turtle that dwarfs the Turtle Islands and bears larger cities on its back. Arcanans might live on other large creatures such as Tremendo, a colossal sky whale that has cities on both its back and within its body. Okay, they're just lore dropping that casually, like here. And of course, they're probably not going to elaborate anywhere because refusing to elaborate is this book's strong suit. Occasionally, adventurers come across villages built on the backs of other gigantic animals. Outside of the mortal plane, there are said to be realms whose land masses are on the backs of colossal creatures, each with their own societies. Wisdom score increased by 2, and Constitution score increases by 1. This is the basics. Ooh, got variants. The variants are fun and have a lot of cool lore stuff, and then just never elaborated on, and it's occasionally, but, you know, and fun, though. So do say hi in the chat. I am, you know. Alright, with decelerate rate of aging, most Tortons do not reach adulthood until their 60s. Typically, Tortons live at least 1,200 years, if not another century more. Strive to make allies as they travel, doing their best to study and learn cultures they visit. Neutral good. They're uncommon. Number fewer than most races, but usually station themselves in places where adventurers travel. So there's a couple. They're not concentrated, but there's not a lot of them, but they're not concentrated. They're well spread out. 5 feet tall, most weigh 450 pounds. Size is medium, so there's that. Base walking speed 25 feet. You have proficiency in insight and persuasion skills. You can hold your breath for a number of minutes equal to 10 plus your constitution bonus. Once you run out of breath, you can survive for a number of rounds equal to 5 plus your constitution bonus. So that's another minute even after you run out of air. That's, you know. Your shell gives you an additional protection from damage. At first level, your hit point maximum increases by 2. And is increased by 2 every time you gain a level thereafter. Huh. So not AC like Turtles, it's more HP. Common, aquatic, and scale speech. You can choose one other language to have fluency. Variant shelled species with the following changes. Kappa. You are a bipedal turtle with concave bowl in your skull that is filled with water. If the bowl in your head is ever totally emptied, after 1 hour you gain a level of exhaustion that cannot be removed until the bowl is filled again. If you take a critical hit, you must succeed on a dexterity saving throw, DC 10 or half the damage taken, whichever is higher, or your bowl becomes emptied until refilled. You have the Heritage Celestial trait from the Kosodonote race in this book. You speak, read, and write Yokami dialect of ethereal. Kappa are rare and often chaotic neutral. Okay, that's a fun little... Okay. Sorry, my teeth. Okay. I want to check something real quick. So that's Tortons, which are fun. I'm going to go with Kosode Note. I'm going to go with Kosode Note. What the frick is... Tunes. Okay, we're going to go and check out what the heck Custode Notes are, and then the Heritage Celestial trait. But that's A. Okay, we're going to K's. Ooh. Sorry. There are some androids. Angel. Okay, yep. There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of these guys. I promise we'll slowly but surely getting to all of them, maybe. Puppies. Oh yes, the scent. Okay, we're gonna go to the table of contents first. My point is that basically the 254. A lot of races have the Celestial Heritage trait. Kosode Note. The spirits can tell us much if we listen, and they can be made to scream if they refuse to speak. Rasputin. Rich King of Romova. Okay, Rasputin is canon. That's a lore dump right there. All right. There's all these weird little subtle things, and you're like, oh, shoot, that means that's canon. Okay. Yeah. They're basically sentient clothing, kind of. Are yokai who have manifested in the clothing of the deceased. They're not the spirits of the departed. Kosode Note Kosode Note seeks to continue the original wearer's legacy as they understand it. Kosode Note manifest in different types of clothes, giving each a unique appearance. The clothing can be that of any species, but human garments are the most common. These items are important to their deceased owners, typically articles that cover the torso, such as coats or shirts, though other types are possible. The garment reforms to show a pattern similar to eyes, which Kosode Note see through. When they speak, the clothing body moves as if blown by wind. They are not the spirits of the deceased, but might take on the first names of their former owners, or choose titles such as Kacha's Kimono or Mindo's Duster. Kosode Note try to honor the lives of their previous owners. They sometimes encounter the loved ones of the deceased, who might mistake Kosode Note for harmful or malevolent spirits. They are welcome among other yokai, though even others of their kind can become tired of the constant devotion to the deceased. Yokai manifest in areas where the spirit plane is metaphysically close to the mortal plane, and Kosode Note are no exception. They are found throughout the Izumi Islands and even around the neon forest of Tokyoto. The gear of many fallen adventurers has become Kosode Note. The Kosode Note wizard Wise Robe seeks to found a city within the Empire's mainland provinces where his kind can gather. Alright. Where? Oh, there's a whole... You can wear armor and other wearables as human can. Okay. So you can wear armor even if you're technically just a shirt. Alright. A possessed shirt that can wear... You know what? It makes sense in context, I think. Ish. But this is what I'm talking about when I say that this whole book is just wild shenanigans. Like... You have Tortons, who kind of makes sense, and then you got some wild stuff like this stuff, and then you got... Oh, Rasputin is also a thing, and you got all sorts of stuff. They took everything and just all different mythologies. Yokai, I believe, are, and Kappa as well, are from Japanese mythology. So, you got that going on. You have Evos. You have like 6 different subspecies of magic users. You got a lot of stuff going on. It's intense. It'd be interesting to read about the mythology behind this, but for now, dexterity and score increases by 2. Emerges as an adult, often with the apparent age of the departed one who owned the clothing the spirit manifests into. Once manifested, Kosode Note doesn't age. Kosode Note manifest with the desire to bring honor to the dead. They're given the following traditions. They're given to following traditions of behaving in a way that cannot dishonor the clothing's previous owner. This behavior often occurs without extra kindness, however, so Kosode Note are often lawful neutral. Spirits hardly ever manifest as Kosode Note. Can be the size of any medium or small humanoid, but weigh next to nothing. Your size is medium or small. Base walking speed 25 feet. You can add your proficiency bonus to ability checks to grapple. If you have proficiency in the skill you use to grapple, you double your proficiency bonus for this purpose, which is athletics or acrobatics. Compression. You can enter spaces small enough to admit tiny creatures without squeezing. You can move through a space of any creature that is larger than you. You can attempt to hide even when obscured only by a creature larger than you. Although you move and manipulate objects as if occupied by a visible humanoid, you have no apparent limbs. When you fall, you can slow your fall to 60 feet per second, taking no damage from falling, because you can just woof out. For every 10 feet fall, you can move 5 feet horizontally. Each foot you move horizontally its way counts as 1 foot of movement. You are humanoid, but you are considered to be celestial whenever it is detrimental to you. That's the heritage celestial. They're not the only race in the book that has it. It's any number of creatures. Living construct. You are humanoid, but your constructed nature gives you the following traits: immune to disease, resistance to poison, proficiency bonus to save against being poisoned. If you have proficiency in such a saving throw, your proficiency bonus is doubled. You need not eat, drink, or breathe. You do not need to sleep and don't suffer the effects of exhaustion from the lack of long rest, but you still do need to rest to get your spell slots back and stuff, but you remain conscious and aware. If you allow it, or are incapacitated, provided you are wearing no armor, a medium or small creature can use an action to don and wear you as if you were clothing. Worn this way, you are indistinguishable from normal clothing until you do something that reveals your true nature. Until you are removed from your wearer, your speed becomes 0, and you can benefit from no bonus to speed. You instead move with your wearer, and you have your wearer's armor class, and you treat the wearer's results on dexterity saving throws as your own. But they can't wear armor, so it's you both have an armor of whatever their unarmored defense is. Which, to be fair, if you are worn by a monk or barbarian, is higher. If your wearer is hit by an attack, take half the damage, and your wearer takes the other half. Rounded up in both cases. While worn, you are a separate target for effects that have individual targets but require saving throws. You use your saving throws for area effects, provided the score on the dexterity is used for the save. So, for wisdom, for area effect stuff that requires wisdom saves or strength saves, you use your own. Something like that. Cannot manipulate or wield objects, and you cannot perform somatic components for spells. You can use your action to remove yourself from your wearer, and the wearer can use an action to remove you. Another creature can remove you from your wearer only if you are willing, or the other creature succeeds at a grapple check while already holding you grappled. I guess if you want off and the wearer doesn't want you off, and or so if you and the person wearing you disagree about whether you should come off or not, I bet you have to make grapple checks, get you opposed checks to keep each other on, or and who's on which side of the check depends on who wants you off and who wants you on. It's interesting. Common in the Okami dialect of ethereal. Koso de note can manifest as any article of clothing, though they are typically larger items such as robes, shirts, or pants. If you wish to be a smaller article of clothing such as shoe or women's underwear, if you're an anime fan, your size is tiny, and you should work with your story master to other adjustments to your character as necessary. You can wear armor and other wearables as humanoids can. Yeah. Okay. This is... That is... Okay. Sorry. Alright. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I know, pipe down. What was I gonna say? I mean, I guess we could just keep going this way. Krampus. By Don Memoletti. Yeah, so, yeah. There's... Krampus have not stolen children in generations. We set up fake trees and wrap empty boxes for the Krampus to take, which keeps them out of our hair until next year. Raleigh, Queen Admiral of Arendelle. Krampus oppose the happiness of winter solstice. They enjoy stealing presents and replacing them with coal, which they defecate. Oh, they put coal and use it to... They can magically squeeze through and compress into small spaces, often making their homes inside garbage containers. They smell like rotten eggs. Though the sound of joy and happiness does not physically harm them, they cause the Krampus great distress. Okay. This is... Wow. This seems like the kind of thing you'd pull in a monster manual, not let your players play as a playable race, but okay. Alright. Krampus are large, hulking, monstrous beings that tower over most other races. They resemble bed and closet monsters, but with green fur and blood-red eyes. They have long claws and even longer tongue, which they can control as though it were a limb. Prehensile tongues, okay. Though they are monstrous race, Krampus wear clothing, usually black version of traditional Kringle garb. Many wear baskets on their back. Once used to always children, but now To carry personal items or store extra coal poop. They have monstrous-sounding names such as Grunt, Thrash, or Squirrel, and take an honorific signifying their personalities, such as the Mad, the Mean, or the Grouchy. Interesting. Surly and ill-tempered, Krampus hate most races, though they get along well with dark and menacing beings such as devils, vandals, and slashers. For as long as there have been Kringles, there have been Krampuses. Krampus? I think it's a plural. Like Kringles, they can trace their origins to the knowing. Alright, yeah, see, that's the other one. We'll get to them next. This is a whole entire bizarre subsection of mythology. Like I said, they took every kind of mythology and just squished it all together, and this is what we get. But okay, sure. Trace their being to the knowing. Originate far from Arcana in the South Pole region of Genesis. They traveled to Arcana's frozen north, where the North Pole is located, to disrupt the celebration of solstice. Okay. The first Krampus, known as Grampus Belsnickel, had red fur and was said to have been betrayed by the first Santa. Many Krampus use this myth to justify their crusade to punish those they don't feel deserve happiness. Though Krampus originate far from Arcana... Okay, South Pole. Like other monstrous races, Krampus go to the realm of Monstrum when they die. They are also metaphysically connected to the Slight, a shadowy sub-realm connected Krampus, that connects to Krampus garbage homes. While they worship the Grampus as a deity, many Krampus have adopted the chaotic and grossest gods of the God pantheon. That's the beauty-ugliness dichotomy, the ugliness side of the beauty-ugliness dichotomy that the invaders brought with them when they first invaded, which are the alien invaders, not to be confused with the chosen ones, who were the first aliens to settle. Yes, there is a lot of lore. Yeah. It's randomly interconnected, because of course it is. But just... this is why this book is so ridiculous. 242. Hang on a second. I am doing something... I wanted to check something real quick. Okay, good. I wanted to make sure I wasn't streaming over Blue Box, because he is a very good friend of mine. And I was going to pregame his stream, but apparently he's not streaming today. So we're just going to have this stream instead, and then we'll pop it over into another friend, Wiley Hobbit, who's also streaming today. Notably Flurg, the god of snot and vomit. Others may devote themselves to Frau Percha, a Krampus demigod known as the Belly Slitter, who seeks to destroy Santa and Grandpa Speltsnickel. The Anti-Claus is a figure prophesied to bring an end to the winter solstice holiday. It is said to be human, wearing black versions of critical clothing, which the Krampus have adopted. Strength score increases by 2, constitution by 1. Quickly grows into adult a few days after birth, absorbing the knowledge it needs from its parents and spiritual sources. Krampus can live almost 2 millennia. Self-serving and begrudging, a typical Krampus dislikes others experiencing pleasurable emotions. The Krampus isn't sharing. Krampus can be mean and vindictive, but seldom lash out at those who deserve their joy. Krampus are chaotic neutral. Legendary. A Krampus is rarely born and rarely seen. Burly and hulking. A Krampus stands between 7 and 8 feet tall, weighing between 300 and 400 pounds. Size is medium. 30 feet. Okay. Proficiency in the athletic skill. Can enter spaces small enough to admit tiny creatures without squeezing. You can use your action to exude an oil that smells like rotten eggs. For 1 minute after, any creature other than a Krampus that starts its turn within 5 feet, you must succeed on a Constitution saving throw, which is DC 8 plus your con plus proficiency, or become poisoned until the start of the creature's next turn. On a successful saving throw, the creature is immune to your stench for 24 hours. Once you use this ability, you cannot do so again, or you can do so again only after you finish a short or long rest. You are humanoid, but have considered to be a fiend when it is detrimental. Calculate carrying capacity as if you were large. You have fangs and claws, and so your unarmed strike can do 1d4 piercing damage or slashing damage, depending on whether you bite or claw at someone. Your natural weapons have the light and finesse properties, and you have proficiency with them. Prehensile tongue. You can use your tongue as a grasping limb. Although this extra limb allows you to wield 3 weapons, it doesn't allow you to make more attacks than you might while wielding only 2 weapons. Also, while using your tongue as a limb, you can't speak clearly, making verbal spell components impossible. You speak, read, and write common and monstral, common and monstrous, and commonly learn guttural and infernal. Okay. Yes, see, heritage celestial. Yeah, see, lots of... When Chris disappeared, we thought all was lost. We had some rocky solstices, but now we are back full production, though we still feel his absence. Eleanor Klaus, Santa Supreme of the Santa Corps. Kringles deliver gifts to children during the winter solstice. They can determine if someone is naughty or nice and can magically squeeze through and compress into impossibly small spaces. Kringles can enter a home only if offered food by a resident. Kringle are Fey-teched humans. Though most powerful of them, Santa Claus, is older and rotund. Most Kringles appear as athletic humans. They have the same ethnic diversity as humans, but most have white hair. As part of their culture, they wear red clothes and red stocking caps. Like that. Or this one. Many wear or use glasses. Though Kringles have average human size and shape, others feel smaller in their presence while also feeling comfortable, as with family member or close friend. Their booming voices can't help but cheer up those around them. Kringles are wise and kind, willing to sacrifice and help people. However, some can be focused on their work and ignore others, especially when they deem naughty. They often clash with beings that would harm mortals, especially children, such as demons, Krampus, and Thoaten. Operating out of the North Pole of Arcana's frozen north, Kringles work under the guidance of Santa Claus, the Arch-Kringle. Many assume Santa was a Kringle who rose to power, while others believe he is a god or fable from a knowing realm. Santa expanded the influence of the North Pole for hundreds of years, facilitating solstice celebrations across Arcana, even delivering presents to minion children during Light Day, their version of the solstice. Sadly, Santa has been missing for the past century or so. Now led by Santa's wife, Eleanor Klaus, the Kringles and their elf and reindeer allies work to keep solstice going in his stead. Mrs. Klaus also struggles to protect her husband's secrets, keeping the gateway in the Arcana Borealis hidden from those who would harm the magical blazing realm, a mortal realm that overlaps with the knowing. Okay, no big deal. They're just hiding a secret realm in the back pocket. Okay, sure. And constantly worth Krampus, and all of these things. There's just all of it. Okay. Also, I know I need a haircut. We're gonna have to do something about that at some point, but all right. How much do because they have a whole naughty nice code thing too, right? So if they and the Krampuses are working on off the same code of who deserves to be happy, then surely they must communicate. Because I feel like there's got to be some, maybe not cooperation, but at least mutual understanding of, like, if the Krampus don't, seldom lash out at those who deserve their joy. Yeah, so it's kind of a whole thing. They keep moral codes. Yes, hang on. Each Kringle is assigned a region to oversee for solstice, with some building domed snow globe cities, even in warm climates. Many worship the holiday spirit, the present that brings joy to children, and aids them as they deliver their presents on solstice eve. During solstice, if milk and cookies are left out for them, they enter homes via the chimney or other entrance to leave gifts. In areas where there aren't enough Kringles, members of other races are inducted into the Santa Corps to gain access to Kringle's abilities. Kringles and their allies combat the rising Santist cult, violent extremists who worship Santa and seek to murder those they deem naughty or threaten solstice. Oh, okay, so they have religious extremists, too. Lovely. Sorry, it's just... the business lords are a secretive and loose alliance of the most powerful CEOs in the Empire's Arcana provinces. About 130 years ago, the business lords of that time, at the behest of the CEO of Metric Marketing, resolved to capture Satan, but summoned Santa Claus by mistake. He has remained a prisoner of the business lords to this day, held by their current head, Creedon Lax of Conglomerate. Other notable business lords are Antoine Necropolis of the Weavers Guild, Elizabeth Dalton of Dalton Wig Company, and Edward Sugar of the Sugar Consortium, Silex Hex of Hex Corp, Devereaux Hatred of Hatred Industries, and Jacob Marley of Marley Banking and Trust. Constitution score and Wisdom score and Charisma score each increased by 1. Okay. Initially aged like humans, but appear to be late middle-aged humans in their late teens, with white hair and faces marked by character and laugh lines, a crinkle of almost 2,000 years. Nature is kind, jolly, and wholesome. Kringles care for others, wishing only to bring joy and comfort. They are lawful good, and they expect others to strive for goodness as well. Legendary. Kringles are seldom encountered except on chance occasion during winter solstice. Rarity is legendary. So they're about equal rarity. The word for the aged appearance, little would distinguish a Kringle from a human. Size is medium. Walking speed is 30 feet. You have proficiency in the athletic skill. Animal friend. You have proficiency in the animal handling skill. Once you reach 3rd level, you can cast Animal Friendship as a 1st level spell once per day without material component. Wisdom is a spell casting modifier. You can enter spaces small enough to emit tiny creatures without squeezing. You can enter a residence only with an invitation from one of the occupants. You are considered to be invited if the occupant willingly leaves you an offering of food, such as cookies or milk. Humanoid, but are considered to be a celestial whenever it is detrimental to you. Calculate your carrying capacity and the weight you can drag, push, and lift as if you were large. Ooh, they still have the mighty trait, even though they're more human-sized. You have proficiency in the insight skill and can detect evil and good. Once you do so, you cannot only do so after you finish a long or short rest. Wisdom, your spellcasting ability for the spell. Speak, read, and write Common and Elvish. Some Kringles native to cold places in the world learn Glacial. I feel like that most of them would be native to the cold places of the world as well. Because I feel like if that's where, if the North Pole is where they're based, yeah, they operate out of the North Pole. So they probably all know most know Glacial, I would imagine. Oh, and then there's Lagunas, obviously. We went over Lagunas last time. I think we started with Lagunas, one of the other streams. Mutual Respect. Oh, Forbidden Romance. Okay, yes, hang on. Is there... Okay, hang on. A certain amount of mutual respect. Nope. Okay. Sorry about that. Alright, I know, this stream was kind of, respect. Non-interference, Forbidden Romance. Because I feel like Forbidden Romance would... Alright, beautiful. Interesting. Alright, so we got Lagunas who were, I don't think think we got to Lazari. I think we went Lagunas, and then we went to, okay, what part of the, hang on, Lagunas, I think they had a, they, Gothican Alliance, yes. The Gothican Alliance, so we had to go look at other members of the Gothican Alliance and figure that out. I was given a gift I did not deserve, but it must have been given to me for a reason. Lazarus, Master Assassin. Lazari are humans who have a lot of these races are, I guess you could say, sub-races of human that have weird secondary effects. And, yeah, so we ended up looking over the Gothican Alliance. Metaphysical gift and or curse of resurrection. Lazari who dies returns to life 4 days after, body and mind restored to the state they had been prior to death, though they can still succumb to old age. Lazari magic traces back to Lazarus, an immortal first of their kind, who uses connections to the source of the blessing to exert control over his lineage, forcing his descendants to train in service to his order. Lazari are humans, though they have unique powers of resurrection that return them to life 4 days after death. Over the centuries, Lazari have produced children across the world so they can appear as human from any culture. Trained from birth to serve the Lazari order, they are muscular and athletic throughout their lives. Though many wear ceremonial robes and hoods among other Lazari, stealth is their key objective, so they dress and act like typical humans of a given reason while working on assignments. So that's their traditional robes and hoods, I'm guessing, is the... let's see, Javier Charo, I believe. Not all Lazari are meant to mingle with others. Some are assassins who work alone. Others are trained for espionage, must develop social skill to blend in. Anyone who's connected to the underworld would know of the legend of the Lazari. Here's a question, though. If they can reproduce, despite the fact that they're, freaking Death Watch, if they're trained from birth, does that mean they just kind of crop up occasionally where, because they probably can at least have one human parent. So do they have half, ones wandering around? That's what I want to know. Or how effective? Because if all male Lazari are either naturally sterile, well, I guess if Lazarus himself was the first one, then he would have had to have born, he would have had to fathered any of his children that he started with. Are spoken of only in whispers, their order known to few on Arcana, but those who use their services are well aware of their deadly prowess. Only those powerful and wealthy can contract with them, and it is said they're the only assassin order permitted to operate without consulting the Empire Vampire Cain, known as the President of Murder. Oh, okay, so there's a whole, Assassin's Guild run by this vampire, and Lazari just get a pass around that because there's some sort of ancient... Wow, okay, there's an ancient assassin order that gets around the Assassin Guild. Okay. After he gained his resurrection ability, though the origin of the power is unclear, proponents of the All-Father claim that he manifested as a demigod messiah who then saved Lazarus from death. After using his undeath to secure additional powers of immortality, Lazarus began siring children across Arcana, hoping to lead its various nations from the shadows. Lazari often run afoul of agents of the Catechist Church, who employ their own secret assassins known as the Magdalene, said to be descendants of the Messiah who inherited her abilities. Oh. Lazari and Magdalene often fight over possession of the mystical artifacts called grails, objects imbued with the power of a god, often the last thing an avatar interacted with on the mortal plane. Oh, okay. Yeah, alright. This is a lot of sense. Sorry. Yeah, this is a whole, some freaking, what's the one? The Templar Order BS. Like, okay. Knights Templar, Holy Grail, that kind of, alright. So they got the whole secret war with the Magdalens. They also, war over, control of Corcholiths, which are mysterious cross-shaped statues made of different materials that appear across Arcana. Lazari have hidden temples, cities, and camps in some of Arcana's harshest biomes. The Lazarus himself lives in a palatial estate on a heavily fortified island in the Polinau region. Although devotion to the order is required from birth, over time some Lazari have defected, leading Lazarus to perform infernal rituals on newborns that compel their service. Oh, Lazari have free will and some discretion about how they carry out their orders, but it has become increasingly difficult for them to break free. Okay. So you can compel it. So these Lazari assassins, right, who are off fighting over the crazy grails that avatars touched, the last touch thing from mortal avatars, that imbued with their power. Okay, so you can compel the service of newborns. So the question is, do the newborns have to be descendants? Do the newborns have to be descendants? Or can other infants be granted access? The gift/curse. And do those not bound under the rights have the resurrection power? Because that could be a compelling storyline. Yeah. Indeed. Okay. After his first resurrection, Lazarus found a naturally occurring fountain of immortality, which he used to prolong his life. Over the centuries, he's been able to secure other fountains of immortality as well as naturally occurring fountains of love and youth. He even found a fountain of Leth, leading to Shadow Realm, whose water can remove memories. Wow, okay. So 2 different ability scores, your choice by +1, just human. Lazari are age as humans do, though any time spent dead does not count against their destined age. And then apparently some of them have immortality from that. Lazari serve their order and the will of their masters, lawful evil, unless they're rogue. Legendary. The story of the man who arose from dead is known by many, but few know of the secret society founded by his descendants. Lazari are others similar to humans, size is medium, walking speed 30 feet. Your proficiency bonus to any saving throw you make against becoming frightened. If you have proficiency in such a saving throw, proficiency bonus is doubled. You can add your proficiency bonus to your death saving throws. If your total is 20 or higher, you regain 1 hit point. You have magically enforced loyalty to the secret cult to which all Lazari belong. If you act against this cult or the orders of a senior member in it, gives you immediately lose hit points equal to half your hit point maximum. You can suffer this loss only once per day. Oh. You add your proficiency bonus to saving throws against disease and being poisoned. If you have proficiency in such saving throw, your proficiency bonus is doubled against being poisoned. When you die, unless you died from old age or your body is completely destroyed, you return to life 4 days with all your hit dice and hit points. Any effect that prevents your soul from returning to your body delays the function of this trait until the soul trapping effect ends. You have proficiency in the stealth skill and your unarmed strikes. Your unarmed strikes deal 1d4 bludgeoning damage, and they have light and finesse weapon property. Speak, read, and write common and Sanskrit. Huh. So that's a whole weird subculture. Alright. I know I rushed through it a little bit, but I have to go and do another thing. So what we're going to do is raid a very good friend of mine called Wily Hobbit. Yeah, we're going to raid at Wily Hobbit. So, hop on for that. If any of you are watching and you are not on the Discord channel, which I highly doubt, but you know, or if you end up watching, there is a link in the chat. You should watch. you should come. You should watch the stream, yes, as a VOD if you can. But if you are watching a VOD, hi. Also, appreciate you watching. The Discord is in that link. If not, you can send me a message on Twitch and or comment on YouTube to get the link. That way. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate all of you. We're gonna raid Wily Hobbit. Let's do it. This is just me, but